Hi there, and welcome to the final episode of the season for Around the Orkney Bowl. And we do have a winner, and welcome to Craig and Martin today. How's it going?
All right, guys.
Hey, Johnny, how you doing? And yeah, it's a final show, final week, and we have 8 champions. But first and foremost, we have a Skara Brae champion, which is the OrkneyBowl champion. I still can't get why we're calling it something different, but this is the OrkneyBowl champion. 96 teams, and this is the one who's came out the top. And the big congratulations go to Darlow's Destroyers, who are the Skara Brae champions for 2024, and they have beat out 95 other people to be champions. Congratulations.
Yeah. And
congratulations.
37 points. It's pretty impressive, Mike. It's really good. It was still a good performance by the Manchester Bees at 237, but not much. He was always behind in this one, and he was never catching up.
It's one of those ones, isn't it? I mean, 237 points. Any other week, you'd be delighted with that during the season, Martin, eh?
Oh, definitely. You know, I mean, nobody's done themselves any shame, eh? Somebody's just walked into a monster, eh? And but you know, at the end of the day, the champion's a champion, and they deserve it.
Yeah.
I always say it, you know, when during the season you score 237 points and lose, and you think, you know, it's a loss, but I've got time and I'm scoring 237 points. My teams are going really well. I'm okay with that. But see, at this stage, it's any given Sunday, and your 237 points do not matter one iota. That could be 137 points if Darlow's Destroyers had 120, and he'd be delighted. You know, so the points don't matter at this stage. All that matters is beating the other guy. And unfortunately for Manchester Bees, and fortunately for Darlow's Destroyers, Mike found an absolute monster this week.
They have been one of the highest scoring teams in the league throughout the year, so it's quite fitting that they did have a high score come the final. So
absolutely, and it just goes to show that yes, sometimes the 8th seed goes on and wins the title because the playoffs it all flips about, but it does also show you that good form throughout the season does stand for a lot going into the playoffs. It does, and there you go. Mike's proved it by going not only all the way, and I'm sure that's enough to win his division as well, but it's been enough to win the whole entire title. And it's not easy to get into the final. In the final, you're only playing one other person, but in the semi-final over 2 weeks, you're playing 3 others. So that's not an easy one to come out on top of, So very well done and very well deserved, and get that trophy on its way, Johnny.
I think as well you can see the Darlow Destroyer scores through the weeks going back. Week 15, 275. Week 16, 248. I mean, the guy heavily deserves it. You know, I mean, he's knocked it. Like those are
you're looking the other side.
Heavy scores.
Manchester Bees were 251 and 273, so coming into it, it was like 2 points between them.
So there was. I mean, it's solid scoring all round. Right through the playoffs, right through the league, right through the playoffs, and it's we will see divisions being won by surprise teams. The 6th seed will win divisions all over the place. They really will. But see here, this is the top division. This is the top players and that are playing in it. And I think at this stage, the cream will always rise to the top at this stage, I believe. Because it's not just 1 week as well. You need to do it for 3. You need to be big for 3 full weeks. Otherwise, you're going to lose at some point along the way.
Definitely. But not well done to the Darlow Destroyers, taking over the mantle from the Double Everton Brews. So that's the West Conference won it this year. So East Conference won it last year. West Conference won it this year. So they're sharing it about.
And one.
So it should be the East Conference this next year. You never know. Not that any of us will win it, because we're not high enough to win it. Or we're going to win it the wrong way, but you went up. You went up, you didn't. So we'll have a look at this, a little one called the 300 Club. There's not many teams have done it. Come on. There we go. So 2023 still got the highest score with 336. I'm pretty sure that might not be top. But coming in at 5th highest was Millhead Aberdeen Bucks at 317 in week 14. And then £314 for the Sandbach Satans in week 9. Then down the bottom 4 there, you've got Queen Hill week 14, 308. Glasgow Eagles 306 in week 10, 314 again for the Crew Juggernauts. And of course, in week 15, the Millhead Aberdeen Bucks were 304.88, and they were on a bye week.
Oh,
it still scored 300 points. It still goes in the 300 club. But yeah, so that's 6 each year, so it's just quite impressive. Because obviously this year was harder because teams were more mixed together because the first year everybody was just completely random. So it's going to be harder to get 336, I think, now, the way the leagues are panning out.
I think the leagues are still sorting themselves out at the moment as well. Like, I think it will, you'll see within like 3-4 years, I think we will see more of a proper division set up, if you know what I mean.
We will. As you say, Martin, they're all still sorting themselves out. And let's not forget, a lot of people are still we play with 2 IDPs, and a lot of people are still learning IDPs in themselves, you know, in the sense of who to pick, who not to pick. Don't really play with them very often. These things, again, people will get very savvy very quickly, and the more they enjoy the league, the more they're going to concentrate on it. So, I expect to see scoring get better as the years go on. I expect scoring to be better next year, and I expect it to get harder and harder to win. But we do have 8 divisional champions as well, Johnny, and it's not easy to win your division. It really isn't. So we've got 8 guys who deserve their congratulations here as well. Martin, you are not one of them. Spoiler alert.
I am definitely not one of them.
Unfortunately, you know, Martin did get a couple of other bowls this week, and he came up against Somala 89, our little boy Alan, who managed to beat him in the show with the keeper, 16-team league. And what was the other one, Craig? Was it one more league? It was one of your
Redraft is back. He beat me in that one.
Redraft is back. So poor Martin suffered two sore defeats this week.
I was in 4 finals. I won 3 redraft, 1 best ball. I broke even. I won 2. I won 1 best ball, 1 redraft. But the redraft one I was happy about. It was the Warrior Bowl. So I was happy about that one.
That's a good one. That's a good one to win, Martin. That's a great one to win. You got... Yeah.
It wasn't the whole. It was just my division in the Warrior Bowl. But to be fair to Sim, he absolutely smashed me in the other 2. I was never in them. So congratulations.
The keeper one was a high scoring keeper score. That one for a 16-team league.
Well, I had an awful season. But here's what came from my season. I am Show Me the Money Home League champion this year. I have my ring, boys. I have my ring. So nothing else matters.
You do realise he's shaking it because he's got one from 2022 that he never gave to a previous champion. So he's shaking it so you can't tell what year it is. He's not got the shakes because he's still drunk. But
we'll take that as a victory and move on, you know. So everything else, I fell down the rabbit hole everywhere else, but I won Show Me the Money. So that's that monkey off my back. And next year it's time for OrkneyBowl. Let's get up there.
Yeah. So in the St Magnus division, you obviously have seen Manchester Bees, so they beat the Carlton Crew, who've been doing well throughout the year.
I do just want to say something
to 209
about the Carlton Crew just quickly, because obviously I know they were the losing team, but it just shows you how well the champions are in this league. Because see, Carlton Crew, I think Johnny posted a stat, like he had 180 or 200 transactions for the year or something. Like, this is a guy.
Well, that's over 2 years. He's had 198 transactions.
This is a guy who is so active. It's unbelievable. See, to beat somebody, to beat players that are that active, you have to be so good. Like, see this division. Well, Carlton Crew's in it. The winner of this division is always going to be such a good player because he just lifts that bar. If you've got somebody that's making that amount of transactions.
He does.
He plays in quite a few other leagues. Yeah, he plays in quite a few other leagues that I'm in as well, and he plays very well in those ones as well. I mean, he was very good in this last year as well. He got very, very close in this last year. He's got very, very close again. I mean, I do think that it's fitting that Manchester Bees do get the Division 1 title, given the fact that they were the ones representing in the Skara Brae, you know. So I do think it's fitting that they win it, but very unlucky to Carlton Crew, and they are very much one to watch out for next year. 100% one to watch out for.
Definitely. Like I say, last year it was E.K. Coates won the St Magnus and Danny Loretz won the Skara Brae, so it was 2 different winners. And Carlton Crew didn't get through. Did he get beat in the final last year or did he get beat in the semi? I can't mind on, but they had a cracking year last year as well. Oh, actually, they won the Queen Hill last year, Carlton Crew.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in that
year. So, no, it's another great year, 11-3, up to Manchester Bees 9-5. Graham came Seattle Patriots beat Graham as well. And our defending champions did actually win his bottom one down there against the Benjamin Skull, the two teams that managed to stay up. So he finished on a high.
Yeah, I mean, it's, at the end of the day, the 3 games underneath there, they're for a little bit of pride in that, finish as high up as you can and all that. But yeah, I mean, no seasons were gone. At the end of the day, there's only really one game that mattered in any division this year. The promotion had been settled last year. Relegation settled last week. Relegation settled last week. So it was all about titles this week. That's all it was about. And Manchester Bees got theirs.
So in that case, we'll go on to the Yesneby division. This is a bit of a one-sided affair. Harrow Harlequins 216.85 against the Godalming Goats 172.92. So obviously their team didn't quite show up. It's a mirror image of what the projected score was going to be, so that's quite ironic. But it's a nice win for.
So was that somebody that was 7-7 that won the division?
Yeah,
indeed. It was.
That's mad. Was this the crazy division, or was?
No, this is my division. This is.
Yours was
7-7. This is the one that looked just. Yeah, but it's 5-9 was the bottom. But yeah.
So
there was a couple of crazy ones, but this isn't the crazy one. But no, it's a great win for Harrow Harlequin. They were on fire at the end and carried it on. So.
Was he before? So at 7-7 though, he might have missed the playoffs, eh? Like there was a good chance.
He had to put in points for.
Yeah,
one in the final week to win in points for and get in.
That's crazy.
Because Yorkshire Finns were going into the final week. Yorkshire Finns were above them. Yorkshire Finns held the spot going into the final week.
Yorkshire Finns were always 7th. They were always outscored by the other 2. Yeah. So the Harrow Harlequins,
at the end of the day,
White Tigers.
They snuck in at 7-7. They snuck in at 7-7 in the final week, and they went on to win the title. And it just goes to show you again, it's get yourself any given Sunday's in operation in playoffs. And whilst I do feel like the Skara Brae will be won by the kind of cream teams, when it comes to playoff football, anything can, for example, I mean, Godalming Goats have. Hearts could have got them here. Hearts has been great all season long, and then all of a sudden you lose them. And who's the quarterback that you've got filling in? Well, you're putting in Spencer Rattler in there. You're putting in Michael Penix in there. And, these are the kind of things that can happen. Is Richardson his quarterback? Is that where the problem lay? Let's go in and have a wee look, Johnny, and see where. Because obviously 172 points at 11-3. That's not normal.
Wow.
It was like Achan let them down. Connor let them down. Oh, I mean, look at that. Hearts not even changed out.
Well, it was the same last year. Last week when Hearts went down, he still scored like 260 points.
Yeah, he's still done fine. It was, and that's the thing. He's got him there all season long, and then you get in there and he's not there anymore, and you've got to go and find another. Nico Collins, who done next to nothing this week. That's going to hurt. Aubrey getting a big fat 0. These are all things that are. These are the guys who got him there, and all of a sudden they've disappeared on the 1 week he needed them more than ever. They've disappeared, and it's cost them the title. And the Yesneby division goes to a 7-7 Harrow Harlequins.
Yep.
It's just how it goes from time to time. It's. At the end of the day, Godalming Goats what they were after this year. They got the promotion. They're in the top division next year. And next year, not only do they get to go for the division, but they get to go for the Skara Brae. They get to go for the whole lot. So it's a great season. It's a great season for Rob, and it's So he fell at the last hurdle, but congratulations on the promotion. And Newcastle Colts and Stoke and Bengals as well. They'll be delighted just to get their promotions and get up into that top league. And Harlequins get the
Stockholm Bengals only missed out getting up last year, so it's good that they got up this year. They'll go into Queen Hill. This is your division, Craig. You probably know more about it than I am.
Well, it's Martin's too. Well,
this was a cracking final. This went back and forward the whole way. It was 255.35 for the Darlington Rams, 235.20 for the New Barstow Masters. Each night, this looked like it was a different team was going to win, and then it just came at the end. I don't know how.
To be fair, I do remember, during our draft, Devante Adams, and I don't know why, in our draft. Like he went normal place in every draft, and then in our draft he fell so far, and I don't know why he fell so far in our draft. And I remember saying in the chat, Sam picked him up.
I've been slagging him off.
Sam picked him up the pick before me, and I turned around and I said, "Oh, Sam, that could be a league-winning pick right there." And to be fair, Devante Adams has been great the second half of the season, and so it did work out that way. He wasn't great. Well, he was average on this final, but
McBride finally got a touchdown turned up here. 45 points for McBride.
It's a playoff week, so in it, that's the thing. It's all about the playoff weeks. And Devontae Adams, like you say, Martin, he went off and won, not this week, but the week before and the week before that, the 2 weeks of the playoffs. He had massive weeks, both of them. Can I just while we're on that subject of the older receivers and that, and Adams was one, Mike Evans was the other. Now, if anyone, I know that they don't, and you don't, and no one has their fantasy Super Bowls in week 18 anymore, but some people do. If anyone has a fantasy Super Bowl in week 18 and can go and pick up Mike Evans, go pick up Mike Evans. Because he needs something like 98 yards to break 1,000. He's broke 1,000 yards every year of his career, and he's about 98 yards short of 1,000 yards for this year. He will get the touches this week. Mike Evans on the overs, Mike Evans on the touchdown. This is a week for Mike Evans. So if you have a Super Bowl this week and you can get Evans in, please do so.
Yeah, but well done, Sam, for winning. So that
was a great win for Sam, as we say. Sorry, back to the game, yeah. New Bars and Marshalls were very unlucky. Happy New Year, Derek. Yeah, New Bars and Marshalls were very unlucky. Like you say, Johnny, this game did go back and forth the whole week. I kind of didn't follow it, but I did follow it, if you know what I mean. And I think just about every time I came in for a wee look, it was the opposite team that were then favourite at that point, so it was back and forward a lot. And 2 big scores. Unlucky for Godfather. He just felt, it's when you run into 255. But as Martin says, Sam made some very smart picks during the draft, and he thoroughly deserves his title.
Yeah, McBride to finally get his first touchdown.
So my tactic for this league, and it actually didn't work. And it was actually interesting. Carlton Crew, their team ended up being similar to mine, but I don't know if they meant it. Like, I definitely meant it. I don't know if they did or if they just kind of stumbled across it. So I went for 2 tight ends. That was my tactic for this league. And so I went with the Jacksonville Jaguars tight end and Kincaid. Ingram. And it just didn't work. Like, they were both injured a lot. Kincaid, his season was so poor, he was predicted to be the #1 target for Josh Allen, and he's just not been good enough. But Carlton Crew did a very similar one. They had, I think they had the Arizona tight end, McBride, and they had Bowers as well. See, what I'm wondering with them, because it was Bowers, did they mean it, or was it just that Bowers ended up being so good that I ended up just playing them both all the time? But I wonder if we did have the same tactic or not. But as I'm saying,
I was targeting Bowers come draft time, come the redraft time when we were drafting this. I was targeting Bowers. There was big talk on Bowers. I reckon he's targeted the 2 of them and thought they're the 2 that. And as you say, Martin, the tight ends, the extra points that they get for catches and stuff. If you can plug 2 in there and you can use them in your flex spots. If you can plug in 2 good tight ends there that are going to get numerous catches every game, well, they're getting like 1.5 points for a catch, and add on another, they get extra points for the first down, then they get extra points for the first down being a tight end, then they get extra points for farting in the right direction, so the tight ends get a lot of points. So yeah, it's a great tactic.
Well, this year it kind of should have been, because tight ends were getting really this should have been the tight end year, and in the end it ended up being the opposite. Like, the tight ends, the first 5 weeks of the season, all of them were pretty much busts. So straight away I was like, oh my God, my team is in trouble here. And which is why I was saying I just wanted to get to the bye week, because I knew my team was going to fall off a cliff at some stage, because this tight end tactic of mine wasn't working.
Yeah. It's getting the right tight end of the thing. And let's not forget, we done a big trade, Martin. That's I kind of that was my big thing for this year. I thought I'm going to try this, and I'm very big on drafting the running backs early doors. You know, I want to get my running backs in. I feel like there's a lot more wide receivers to play with than there are running backs. Therefore, I always like to get my stud running backs in early doors. And I'll leave the Chases, and I'll leave the Jeffersons, and I'll leave the Pukas, and I'll wait for the kind of DK Metcalfs later on, and these kind of guys. So I really have the big stud wide receivers. So when we made that trade, I said I'm taking two stud wide receivers in the first round, and I'll take it from there. And that's not worked for me either. It kind of did work in the sense that I had a decent team all season long, but it didn't work because I barely scraped into playoffs and then lost in the first round. So I'll need to go a different way next year. But that was my big swing this year, was the two early wide receivers and build from there.
Yeah, with the trade as well, like moving up, see if you move up and you can have injuries, everyone's going to get injuries, but just not get unlucky with injuries. I think moving up is actually the better move. Moving back protects you from when you get decimated, which I did. My team got decimated with injuries. And the reason why I managed to make the buy and stuff was because I moved back. See, so you do, that's the plus sides of the trade. Eh? If you can just not get unlucky with injuries and you move up, you're in the money,
Well, and as I said, I went with Chase and I went with Jefferson, and Chase was great, but then he had his off games, and when his off games were, when him and Jefferson was very good throughout the season, but again had his off games, and when those two had an off game, I lost. That was pretty much how it went, So I was very reliant on those two throughout the whole season. So that was where, and as you say, I had no cover on the bench because I'd moved up, so I didn't have the middle round, so I was taking dart throws at the back end. Yeah, it's not a way I would go next year, that's for sure.
Just quickly though, I do want to say the two guys in the final, they were definitely the two best teams in our league. They put up the biggest scores they could. I know occasionally they had maybe down weeks, but these were the two best teams in the division.
Well, they're both up. You're up, Martin, and
I know,
are up.
Towards the end of the season, them two teams were the last good 6 weeks. Those were the two best teams in the league to finish.
Oh yeah, even earlier on the season, there were a couple of games that Newcastle Masters scored 170, 150 points. Then a week later, they scored 270. So they were always a high scoring team. So.
And that tells me it's a boomer bust team, which is fine, because see these boomer bust teams, see when you pick a guy that's a boomer bust, I'm not a big fan of that during the season. During the regular season, I'm wanting guys that are just going to score me steady. And if the other team goes off and one, the other team goes off and one, that's fine. But I want to bank my steady points as the season goes, and I'm going to win more than I lose if I do that. But then when it comes to playoff time, that's when you want your boomer bust guys. That's when you want to plug in a Westbrook or Kinney and hope he properly goes off on one. It's finding the right guys at playoff time to be able to plug in there. And see, when it comes to the playoffs, that are going every single season and every single league, there are guys that sit in agency going into week 15 that can be potential title winners. There are guys sitting in the agency who will score points through the playoff weeks, just purely because, like the Kansas City Chiefs, they're not taking any risk whatsoever with Travis Kelce. If he so much as broke a fingernail, they'll get him off and put him on the bench. There's no need to risk him anymore, And that's the thing. So you don't have them really giving it the Sunday best, if you know what I mean. And that can be a problem. So boomer bust in playoffs is a great way to go about it for me, but you got to get there first.
Yeah. So we'll go on to Mullhead. So the Kirkwood Chargers, another one didn't show up, 153.23 against the Boston Bears, the team that was on the form getting to the Hingley. And I think they came in, they won the last game to get into the playoffs. So 206.28. So I think they knocked out Laxdale Legends, I think, to get in at 8-6 in the final week and go on to win the bowl. Not the high scoring game, but enough to win. So
it goes to show that it can happen. If you looked at, Bedford Brewskis had a big score here, and Rotherham Raiders decent score, but other than that, they're all in the hundreds. So these teams this league's kind of, they've floated with the kind of big boys that fell down this week by the looks of it. But 206 points, as I say, it doesn't matter. That's a good score. and it's won, but it doesn't. It's all that matters is it's better than the other score. So congratulations to Bottom Bears. And as you say, Johnny, they made the run at the end. They were the informed team heading into the playoffs, and it goes to show, they've come out the other side as champions.
Yeah, I kind of worked out that, see, if you were scoring between 205 and 210, you could still lose with that score, but what it required somebody to have on their team like a really big performance. Yeah. So, I would say my team was probably the most boring ever. It just scored 205 to 210 points every week. So it just meant that somebody on the other side had to have like a really big score, like off one player. So if you're scoring that kind of score, you know what I mean? It means they have to do something special to beat you.
Well,
it's what you want. It's what you want, Mark. No, during the regular season, you ended up 11-3 or whatever. It's what you want during the regular season. You just want to put up that score, that average score, and if you get beat, you get beat. But you're going to win more than you lose. The problem comes when you hit the playoffs and you score that average score. That 205. Chances are in the playoffs, someone else is going to top that, and knock you out, as the case may be. But yeah, it's a great win for Bottom Bears, as I say. It's get the title, going up into Division 3. You're taking up the title with you, the Division 4 champ. So, got to go into next year full of confidence, and we'll see how we got on against them next year, Johnny.
But this is but this is one of the guys you want to watch, though, because it's like, is this guy going to go promotion, title? As a neutral, you want to see that, eh?
Of course, absolutely. You want to see it, but as I'm moving into our league, no, I don't want to see that.
No, you don't. Because obviously, because the Aberdeen Bucks, they had the 2 weeks in a row they scored over 300 points in weeks 14 and 15. So obviously, they weren't really that bored about this week because
they got them the promotion, though, Johnny. They got promoted for it.
So, and the Kirkwall Chargers, they were the number one seed. So they finished 10-4 for a reason.
That fell down this week is the problem. They've just had one of those weeks, Johnny. They've just had a playoff week. That's what happens in the playoffs, and they've lost it, and Bottom Bears have won it. Unlucky, and but you're still getting your promotion. You're still up into Division 3, so take that confidence into next year and go one better in the Division 3. That would be my.
That just proves you don't have to score. The Bottom Bears, it's come off again. The Bottom Bears only scored 2,600 points. Compared to the rest, including the ones below them, 2008.
Yeah, absolutely.
But enough to win. That's it.
But yeah, you got to have the wins. If you don't have the points, you don't have the points. You got to have the wins. That's a big thing.
Yeah, you got the wins in the end. So yeah, well done, Bottom Bears, and we'll see Kirkwall Chargers, Rolling Raiders, Aberdeen Bucks, and the Bottom Bears in our league next year. That should be fun. I think there's a couple more Scott. Well, I think 3 out of 4 of them are Scottish, so they've got more Scots in the division. That was to rename it to the Scots division. Of course, Martin had to abandon us and get bloody promoted,
So, sorry, boys. Hey, Johnny, I was rooting for you to stay up because I wanted to beat you.
Thanks for that. Yeah, cheers. You can thank Rob for that one, the bastard.
It's quite funny. Every year, honest to God, right? For the last 2 or 3 years, right? I'm always like, if we're in a best ball, whatever, and I see Johnny's name, I'm always like so excited, and I'm always giving him crap, right? I'm always I wait to smash you, Johnny, right?
On,
right, listen, right? You want to know the funny feeling? Over the last 2 years, I'd say Johnny's beat me like 10-2 or something.
Listen, it's how. Listen, Mark, you keep throwing that abuse out, though. You keep throwing that abuse and those challenges out, because you know what? It'll turn around. One day it'll turn around and you'll get the better. Trust me. I have the same issue with my mate Doug.
The best thing was, though, I think it was the first 2 that he won, because he was even on Twitter saying that he beat me.
Well, that's a bit right. Honestly.
And I was just like, leave it to it, and then bang, another one. Yeah. And
you know what I always do?
This is obviously.
So sometimes it's like a random league, and I'm like, oh, Johnny's got that many league. He's probably not even realised he's beat me.
I didn't.
Exactly, and that is the case a lot of the time.
We're not renaming Batch's division the Scottish division.
Oh my God, he'd do a heart attack.
Funny. But yeah, that's Division 1 for the West End, Johnny. That's here come our champions.
This is the Happy Valley, so this is the Skara Brae winners. We'll get to see their team in a minute. 293.37 up against the South London Rebels, Tony. 216.76. So it's another good show from Tony, who won the Rousey Cup last year. But obviously, coming up against 293, there's not really much you can do about that. So we'll see what happen.
No, but listen, runner-up in the top division's never to be sneezed at. You know, it's he's had a great run. He just ran into a big one, and when you look at what the team's got, look, McConaughey there, you know, we had JT up the top, Jackson, who had a massive game, but JT was a proper differentiator this week for the fantasy playoffs. I would say that if you had JT in your fantasy team and you were in the Super Bowl, you probably won it.
See, the thing is as well, where did that come from as well? He's been, I don't know, I wasn't high on him at all this year. I don't think I drafted him anywhere, but as far as I can tell, he's been pretty disappointing this season, as you know.
Well, he won me my title. He won me my title. He's had bad weeks. Don't get me wrong. He's had bad weeks, but he's had very good weeks as well, and he's chunked along fine. But he's another one who took off in playoff week. He had a great week 16, and then he had a great week last week, and it won me the title for sure. It won me the title. Him and Jared Goff are the two that won me my title.
He's been pretty good with the yards this year. It's just been the Richardson stealing it on the goal line. There's a lot of them Richardson taking the goal line carried off him. So.
You know what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting for the Skara Brae champion who loses their division. You know, it's not happened yet. Last year's winner won their division as well, and obviously Dallow Destroyers has won the division here, but they could end up being the champions and lose the division.
Last year's champion didn't get into the final of the division.
Or did they not?
No, he scraped into the playoffs at 8-6 for 95.
I wonder if there's a way to do it, like maybe move everything forward 1 week and then just
weeks get in there for sure.
Oh, because I was going to say just then week 17 could just be for the final, the two winners, if you know what I mean, if that makes sense.
Yeah, bring it all forward one and then get all the divisions out of the way in the final week's just the Skara Brae.
Well, yeah, no, the final would just be the winner of the West and the winner of the East. And then you just have one game on the last week.
Yeah, but you can't do that because you're not going to have your playoffs starting with the bye weeks are on, especially when you've got 4 or 5 bye weeks.
No, that's the thing. The bye week week 14 is a problem. Until the NFL starts being clever and not having bye weeks in week 14, or we get week 18, week 19, which is coming along the way. It's going to be 18 games sooner rather than later. That's maybe when that can change. But Dallow Destroyers, as we say, they're overall champions. Unlucky Tony. Another great season, though. You can't complain at that season. You know, it's.
I tell you what, though, you're right about these divisions, though, because see this division, like I recognise so many names in this top division. These guys are like this is the creme of the creme. This, you know.
Look at the points they scored. They scored nearly 3,200 points in the regular season.
Yeah, so there you go. I mean, it's a very deserved one. Very deserved one.
Can we see the team?
I did put it up.
Oh, I must have missed.
You've got Jackson, Taylor, Chase Brown, Lad McConkey, DK Metcalf, Amon Brown, Trey McBride, 45 points, Tyrone Tracy, Bucky Irvin, Will Rijkaard, Cashman, 27 points, Jones only getting 10, but then not much difference.
See, this is what it shows you. Like the only guy I would say on his team where you could say he got maybe a bit lucky, maybe picked him up in agency or whatever, is Tracy. Nobody's seen that coming with Tracy. But the rest, you look at some of these big players, he's took punts on players, which is what you have to do in drafts. So Bucky Irvin, I had him loads actually. So that, you know what I mean? Like you got to take punts on these guys.
Out of agency. Out of agency, you know.
And McConkey, like these are guys I had McConkey as well, but it's like in the draft you've got to take punts on these rookies and that, because see if you don't, you're not going to win. Like you have to take a punt on these rookies or these backup guys in good situations. Like, but Bucky Irvin he was always in a great situation because if Rashad White went down injured, there was only him it was him and nobody else, eh? So you've got to
find the running back anyway. You know, it was White was the catching back. He ended up being the running back. But yeah, I mean, great choices, great picks, and it's shown through. I mean, it's not just the fact he's went on to win it. It's 3,199 points. Says that he's been solid all year long, and when you look at the squad, you can see why. So, but that's kind of one for folk to look at and say, right, how did you get that? Where are you going about that? I'm going to go and look at his draft and see exactly where he drafted everyone, where and when, and you know how that went down.
That's what I'm looking at now.
Because it's a big win, and it's a big win in the top division, you know. So it's definitely the target on the back for Darlow Destroyers next year. That's for sure. Everyone's coming gunning for you next year.
I think just in general, one thing will be running backs, and depending on tight ends, like Zach Ertz will fall into this. Like running backs and tight ends probably get a lot more first downs, I would imagine, than wide receivers.
Do you want to know how he? Do you want to know how he drafted then?
Yeah, let's go for it.
He drafted at the 108, so he went St. Brown, then Taylor, and he went McBride in the 3rd round, Metcalf in the 4th, Jackson in the 5th, Christian Kirk in the 6th, Montgomery in the 7th, Rashee Rice in 8, Lad McConkey in 9, Chase Brown in 10, Dallas Goddard in 11, Ernest Jones at 12, Ty Chandler at 13, Nick Bolton at 14, Bucky Irvin in the 15, Dontavian Wicks in the 16, Tyrone Tracy at the 17, DeMarcus Robinson 18, Justin Fields at 19, and Jalen Tolbert at 20. So he drafted a lot of rookies.
I tell you what that shows though as well, right? Straight away, he had Montgomery, who's fell away at the end of the season, so he's had to deal with that. He had the Chiefs, the Chiefs wide receiver, who he's had to deal with that. And his first 2 picks, me personally, like St. Brown, okay, he's done all right. But Taylor, okay, he's came good at the end. But like, so you don't just win it in the draft. You know, this is
you never win it in the draft.
He's overcame this through agency and maybe some trades. I don't know, but
he lost Christian Kirk as well.
Christian Kirk. Like he's done. See, to win with that amount of injuries and players not performing and things like that, he's done really, really well. Really well.
The team that you draft will never be the team that you end up with. You know, that's just the way it is. The team that you draft, you're looking to get you there, and then you'll work on it as it goes. You know, so when you get to the playoffs, you're in the best possible position. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of big names there, a lot of chances that he took, and a lot of them came off for him. You know, and as you say, there's a couple of things there towards the end and stuff that he dropped off. But in the main there, when you look at those names, JT didn't miss that many games, and he did he done pretty well. You know, Amon-Ra missed nothing. You know, he's taught DK Metcalf is the only early one there that we mentioned that didn't score pretty decent, and that just shines through. And then when you look at who was, you know, so Chase Brown so much later on and stuff. I mean, Chase Brown was huge back second half of the season, like you say, Martin Tyrone Tracy in there late on, Bucky Irvin in there late on. These guys have pulled it out for him, and that's what's won Darlow Destroyers the title this year for sure.
Definitely has been those backup running backs. See, this is when you're drafting. When it's later, so many people when it's later rounds, they just make random picks, and it's unless it's a proper deep league, it should never get like that. You should just have an idea of right, who's this backup running back? Right, okay, if he's poor or if this guy gets injured, right, he's straight in the team now. That'll win you a league. You know, this is 100%. Like.
And running backs go down like Titanic, man. No, you know, you're talking 10, 15 a week get hurt, you know, or just pick up some sort of knocker. But you know, the backup running backs, the bona fide backup running backs are going to score points at some point along in the season. They just are. Whether it be that the head guy gets hurt, or whether it be that the head guy just needs a rest because he's been run into Barkley been run into the ground this year. And when Gainwell's come in, Gainwell's done okay a couple of weeks.
He's looked good. Okay. He's looked good.
And you know, so these are these backup running backs. They're not awful, and they're very. As you say, Martin, get the right ones down the bottom end of the draft, and they can make such a difference later on.
And people say, okay, it's a bit lucky, and yeah, it is a bit lucky, but you make your own luck. You know, you have these guys like if you go look at my you look at my roster. If you go look at my bench, you'll see like 5 backup running backs. I had like Blake Corum, all the rest of it. And okay, I was not like they ended up just sitting doing nothing. But that's how you've got to do it, because look at the flip side. The Darlow Destroyers, they've done that, and look at the points they've put up. You know what I mean? You've got to do things like this in leagues.
Yeah, they picked up Tyrone Tracy and Bucky Irvin. They didn't pick up, you know, Blake Corum, for example. You know, Marshawn Lloyd was another one at Packers. I mean, where the hell's Marshawn Lloyd? I mean, where is he?
Where is he actually? What did happen to him?
Marshawn.
He's not going IR.
He does. And then he had
once he was back, he got his appendix out or something like that. So it was anyway. Hopefully we'll see him next year somewhere. But so but there you go. That's the thing. If you picked up Bucky Irvine and Tyrone Tracy, you're laughing. And if you picked up Blake Corum and Marshawn Lloyd, who were going around the same place,
yes, they were
with exactly the same kind of chat
Setup.
around them. And there you go. You pick the right two, and you win, and you pick the wrong two, and you go 11-3, and then get pumped in the first round of the playoffs. Same up.
Well, I had a bye, so it was the second round, but
Sorry, your playoffs.
But the thing is, though, that's what I'm saying. But see the people, though. See if you were like me, you took backup guys and it didn't work out. That doesn't mean you don't do it again next year. It was the right idea. It just didn't work. You try again.
Exactly, and you do it, and you need to maybe study a wee bit more and pick the right ones next year. But it's not. It's so difficult. I would have went Blake Corum long before I went Tyrone Tracy or Bucky Irvine this year. I would have been on Blake Corum, and of course, Marshawn Lloyd. I was on quite a few times because I thought obviously it had been Packers as well, so I was on him quite a few times. But you go with the wrong ones, and it's on to next year, and you go with the right ones, and you've got a good shout.
Remind me who got promoted and who didn't, Martin? I've no so you can't slag you up too much. You still got promoted.
To be fair, though, I'm one of these ones, and I know Craig will never believe me, but you've got see for next season, your division is going to be so much fun next year. So I hope my division. I don't obviously. I'm going to a new division. I don't know if I know a lot of them or not, but I'm hoping it'll be as fun as your guys' division.
No, it should be a laugh. Nothing else. Plenty to be beaten in there, Quite honestly, I'd rather get out of Doug's division. I don't like being in Doug's division. I don't want to be in Doug's division. I play him in every other league that I'm in, so I would be quite happy to get out of his division in here and get a little bit of respite from there.
Yeah, he's got the 2 times a year in the home league. At least.
But yeah, it should be a good division.
We'll go on to Maze House. So they've got the Dickens Heath Demons, 278.78 against the Crew Juggernauts, 226.26. That's Mark obviously winning the helmet and getting promoted. With a nice
congratulations
score of 278.
Yeah, congratulations, Dickens Heath Demons. It's a great score as well. When you score over 250 points in the final, you deserve to win it, and if you lose it, then it's just unlucky, So, but congratulations, and it's unlucky for Crew Juggernauts. They're 226, and am I not right in thinking Crew Juggernauts were one that were right down the bottom as well, and just managed to scrape in the last couple of weeks? Or am I wrong?
Crew Juggernauts finished the number 1 seed. They predicted at the start of the year that they would get promoted.
Right. Okay, sorry.
But this is a league that could have went either way because.
Oh, this is a league that could have went either way. Yeah. This is a league that could have been anything.
This was the one that was trade mad as well. Like this was probably the best division in the OrkneyBowl this year. Johnny's wasn't far behind it though, to be fair, but this was the one that went mad.
Yeah, they were all trade mad. There was another division still to come that was pretty close as well, but yeah, this is the one where
poor Derek got 8-6 and got relegated. Relegated on 8-6. That is a proper Kilmarnocky thing to do, isn't it? 8-6 and relegated. That is such a Kilmarnocky thing to do.
What people don't know is obviously because you think, I'm relegated, I'm not going to pick my team. Graham was pulled out of the second division, which means that only 3 teams went down. So Kilmarnock Kings had beaten Southampton Dockers, they would have stayed in the division. But because they didn't beat Kilmarnock Dockers, so the 5 and 9 Southampton Dockers stay in the division, and Derek still gets relegated. But there is
let's look and see. Let's look and see what's on his bench. I want to see if it made a difference or not. What's on his bench?
It didn't make any difference, but
well, he never took Walker out. So he definitely have taken Walker out because he wasn't playing.
Would you play Mayfield over Goff?
No, but he would have played Davies over Walker, so he'd have got an extra 7 there.
Tight end at 19 points.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have taken out David maybe, but at the same time, you might not. You wouldn't have probably, So I think he's probably played his strongest team there, other than obviously not doing Walker. But that was his starting team from the week before when he was trying to stay up. And Walker aside, it's not made a difference in the end. He would have lost it anyway. Well, unlucky, Derek. It's a great season to go 8-6. It's a fantastic season. So to get relegated off it means that you're there, and I'm fully expecting a title charge at Division 3 next year from you, sir.
Yeah, definitely, Derek. We're all rooting
The
for you.
Richard Warriors, obviously managing to stay in the division and celebrate winning the Rousey Cup the week before by beating Glasgow Lightning. So obviously they've received a mystery jersey. Turns out it was the Browns, Craig, not the Bucks.
It was the Browns, Mayfield.
Dave told me when it arrived. Mayfield the Browns. Was it?
All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Well, it was orange. We didn't care. Yeah.
But back to the top, back to where it's all at. Dick and Seed Demon take the title, they take the helmet, and they march into Division 1. Hope should be full of confidence. I mean, if I'm Crew Juggernauts, I'm going in full of confidence as well. And see, Portland Lumberjacks, they like a trade. They're a big trading team. So I think in the first division, there could be one to watch out for. Belfast Benchwarmers, another one who like the trade. So I think Division 1 and the West could be really tasty next year.
What 4 teams went up, sorry?
The Dick and Chief Demons, the Crew Juggernauts, Belfast Benchwarmers, and the Portland Lumberjacks.
Yeah, I mean, other than the Crew Juggernauts, I'm just looking at the names. Like, these are guys kind of gay, and you recognise them, you've been in leagues with them, so this top division is going to be tasty, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, well, actually, Mark lost the OrkneyBowl dynasty to his son Jack by about 4 points. that was a bit of a sore one, but his son's in a couple of leagues lower. So we'll head on to the Marwick Head. You've got the Sandbach Satans. You've been one of the highest scoring teams throughout the year for the last few weeks. It's 246.78 against the Nottingham Rebels, 157.83. This was another close one. The top two were Chester and Birmingham. You both had high scorer, but they're up anyway. But
wait a minute, Port scored 200 points.
Yeah, he's already relegated.
Oh, was he already? Oh God, I thought he'd stayed up somehow.
No, he's long since gone. That could quite possibly be the worst fantasy team I've ever seen in my life. Not even being funny. How the hell Port got that to about 4 wins he got?
Yeah, 4 wins.
I think the only reason he got 4 wins out of this is because he's got Grote and Mark in his league. So there's a couple of wins straight away. But honestly, I doff my cap to Pork, because to get 4 wins out of that squad is pretty damn good going, I would say. So yes, he's been relegated, but I'm expecting a bounce back next year from our Pork. I'm expecting him to bounce straight back up. As for the top, Sandbach Statons, brilliant win. Obviously Nottingham Rebels haven't showed up in the final. That happens from time to time. You've got your promotion, you're up. But congratulations to Sandbach Satans. They take the helmet with them as they jump into Division 2.
Yeah. And the final division, we've got the Knockholt Knockouts, 221.08 up against the Manchester Spinners, 203.25. This game did swither either way, and I won. This was a seed 5 and 6 in the final.
Oh, good. So 5 and 6 seeds in the final. So the winner of Division 4 didn't get. Oh no, they did get promoted because they won their game.
They did, yeah.
Of course they did. Yeah. So,
but the ironic thing is, great. The Blue Toon Texans who missed out in the playoff are actually now up because of that team leaving.
Oh, right. Okay.
So he deserved to get up. He lost. Remember, he was in first place. He lost week 14, knocked him down to third, but he is getting promoted now because he won.
He lost the final as well. He lost the cup final as well. So that's huge for Michael. I'm so happy that he's got up. Michael Amos plays in. He's from up in Peterhead, Martin, and he plays in our home league as well. He has been the regular season champion for 5 out of the last 7 years or something like that, and he loses in the first round to the playoffs every single year. So honestly, it will turn 1 year. This year, he got me in the first round of the playoffs, and I thought, oh, this is going to be the year that it all turns round for him. Thankfully, it wasn't. So, but he knows what he gets it. He just gets very unlucky when it comes to playoff times, and that's unlucky as well to be top going into the final week and then go down, not get the bye, and then lose in round 1, so you're not getting up. So I'm so happy he's got up.
Yeah, he's over the moon. So obviously we've got somebody new in taking his place, but they're already in. It's a friend of Everett, so Matthew Phillips. But his league's already in. He's in his league already. He's all settled in.
So what teams are going up in this league?
Well, 5 now.
Manchester
You've got the
Spinners,
Manchester
knockout
Spinners, the knockout
knockouts.
knockouts, Birmingham Bears, Lagasville Lemons, and now the Bluetoon Texans.
There's two guys here who maybe this was their first year in this scoring, but I'm going to tip them to shoot up the leagues because I'm in a few leagues with them and they're really pretty good. Is the Cork Red Army and the Plymouth Assassins. I'm in a few leagues with these guys and they always have good teams. So I think these are the two.
Yeah,
Adam didn't do well last year. He just didn't do too great. He did a bit better this year, but last year didn't do great. And yeah, Ewan, is it Ewan or Ewan? I can't pronounce his name. It's a funny spelling. Maybe Ian. Actually, I think it's obviously Irish, but yeah, he does usually do quite well as well. But I think did he just miss out in the playoffs? Yeah, he came 7th by 1 game. But yeah, this was quite close all the way. Obviously, Jack here. That's Mark's son. So Jack also gets promoted up to the 3rd. But he didn't do enough to get through, but he did enough to finish 3rd.
I mean, a lot of the teams down here as well will be kind of relatively new to the game. You know, they just had a shit season last year, which happens. You know, either way, you know that turns around very quickly, and I do fully expect over the coming kind of 3-4 years for the leagues to be a lot of, well, obviously there's a lot of movement. There's 4 up, 4 down every year. But I do think in a few years' time, we'll see the kind of same teams going up and down each year. You know, it'll be that kind of balance where it'll be, you know, kind of, I'm better than that, but I'm not as good as that, you know, so it's up and down like, and it'll just be the way it goes. And sometimes it's just because you've been unlucky that year and the next year you do really well. And sometimes it's just because that's where you're at, you know. You've got, I mean, the guys in Division 1 here, I'm guessing they've got minimum 15 teams ahead at each. I'm guessing that they spend an hour or 2 a day on the sites, and I'm guessing that, you know, they've been playing for a good few years. Whereas the guys down here, I'm kind of thinking maybe a little bit newer to it, maybe not as many teams, and just try to feel their way a little bit. So I do think that'll settle in the coming years. And those guys that are more experienced, obviously the guys behind will pick up a bit of experience on it and they'll catch up with them.
And obviously the one that Craig not bothered about, but obviously Mark is, because Mark ended up winning the Ring of Brodgar champion with 821 points over the last 3 weeks.
Wow.
260 points, 281 points, and 278. That was after Aberdeen Bucks had 304 the first week, but ended up at 261. They ended up quite far down in the end, so anything can happen. So
look, Craig,
well done for Mark. You put yourself a trophy and a shield to come home.
Here's my team in a nutshell, boys. Smack in the middle, just average. That's my team all season.
The Mr. Average, the Mr. just over 200 every week.
Listen, 227, 206, 204.
I got your promotion, so you know, I got your promotion. But yeah, well done again to Mark. It's a trophy, it's a shield, it's a whatever it is. It's a win. It's a win. So you know, you're happy that you've got the win.
Definitely. So
after this playoff week in the middle of Christmas, is it going to be the same next year? This year, will it work out the same?
It'll depend when Christmas Day lands. Christmas Day is going to be Friday this year, so it'll be a little bit more
better
concentrated on the weekend. It's because Christmas Day landed on Wednesday and they wanted games on Christmas Day, so they had to, and because they have to spread eagle that out, well, they have to do it the week before as well, Martin, because you can't have guys playing on Sunday and Wednesday. So they had to play Thursday, then you had to have a couple of games Saturday just to get those teams ready to play again Wednesday. Then, you know, I think that's why it was so spread. I think next year, and I believe Christmas Day is Friday next year, I think it'll be a lot more kind of weekend concentrated. Is it Thursday? Is it?
Christmas will be a Thursday if it was Wednesday this year. There's a leap year last year.
Hopefully it's better, because I have to admit, like, don't get me wrong, there was so many injuries as well, which that it didn't help things for everyone. But I just see that set up for it. I didn't enjoy it this year at all. So I'm hoping it's going to be different. Hopefully this year it wasn't the most enjoyable.
Christmas week will be a Thursday, so that'll be the Thursday night game next year. So there'll be no game on the Wednesday night, no game on Tuesday. So. hopefully.
In my league, in the home league, the guy Alan who I was playing, he had like 3/4. In fact, see, going into Sunday at 6 o'clock, he had a defence and a kicker to come. Everyone else had played, and it's like I've not even started yet. I've had Stevenson, and he's had everyone
0.1.
bar his defence and kicker. And it's like, that's just no. So then I'm chasing the whole weekend, and then I'm chasing. And it got to the stage where I was 20 points behind with Goff to come, 21 points behind with Goff to come. He had the Lions D to come. And I kind of looked at it and thought, I don't think I don't think that, I think I'm too far behind. So I didn't even bother staying up to watch the game. I went to my bloody bed. I mean, I got a nice surprise on Tuesday morning, but I would have loved to have stayed up and watch it. If I thought I had a chance.
You also went to bed because you were up at 6 o'clock to go to work.
Well, that didn't help either, of course. But, it's...
Yeah. Tell the whole thing, man. Tell the whole thing.
If I thought I had a chance at the title, I would have, it was my last day for a week, so I could have winged it, I could have been tired, that's fine. But yeah, it is what it is. And I agree with you, Martin. I didn't like that setup. I would like it to be more normal next year, I've got to say.
I do hope as well there'll be I think that injuries, even just the whole playoffs. Like, I'm not even just talking about, I had some teams that avoided it, but I just do hope in general there is less injuries during the playoffs. I think it was really bad just for fantasy in general, Like, the 49ers are on, the fifth running back. Like, that's not good for fantasy football, you know what I mean?
But it's one of those ones where that's where the players who are more committed do better, because they're watching everything and they see that, a lot of fantasy football is played in agency. The guys who you draft ain't the guys who are going to win yet. It's just the injuries come all the time. I think that, yes, you would, in an ideal world, you want the playoffs to be fair, even, and everyone to get their runners out and that. But you're going to get injuries. It happens through the regular season. It's going to happen in playoffs. It's all about how you manage them. And that's the big thing for me, manage those injuries. And 49ers on their fifth running back or whatever, that's just the San Francisco 49ers, though, isn't it? That's what they do.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I just like this year was really bad for just.
It was because of the Wednesday games for me. That's what killed it.
But Johnny, well done on another successful year, and thank you for everything you do, man. You've really smashed it at the park this year.
You do, mate. Well done. It's as I say, you get 96 people playing in the league, and it's and everyone seems to enjoy it. Everyone seems interested. Everyone seems into it, and that's no mean feat, because 96 people mean that 96 different personalities. It means 96 different ways of doing things and thoughts, and so to keep everybody happy, to keep everybody going, to keep everybody in is not easy.
Yep, thank you.
Get 96 people to pay is just in itself, to get 96 people to pay, it is massive in itself.
That is a bit of a struggle, but
I'm going to start a petition. Remove kickers, just every league, fantasy football, and just in general, every kicker, just remove it for fantasy football.
No, I love kickers. Win your title.
No, kickers. It's just randomness. There's no, you can't.
The kickers have been the worst this year. They've been for a long time.
It's just
missed a lot.
Like I never drafted the guy. I never took Aubrey anywhere. Right? See if somebody lost with Aubrey in their team by 6 points. That's just a shambles, because that is just sheer luck. And I never drafted the guy, but I mean that's kickers in a nutshell.
Well, he was going to number one kicker after last year.
About any position, though. If you drafted Ramondre Stevenson, he done well, decent, okay through the year, and then he fucked it up on last week. If you drafted James Conner, that cost you the league, that cost you your title. Do you know what I mean? Because he got injured in and only had 4 carries.
On the other note, if you played Henley in the final, you got 0 tackles, nothing, and he'd been scoring 30-odd points a week. Actually went on Twitter and apologised.
Who did?
Fantasy followers, because the ball never went anywhere near him.
Who was this?
Henley for the Chargers. He's been scoring 25 to 30-odd points a week the whole year. Got to the final, they kept the ball away from him. He got absolutely no points at all. No tackles, nothing. And he went on Twitter and apologised to anybody that had him in the fantasy team, because there's nothing he could have done. But he actually went on and apologised. It was in the group chat right after they played.
Remember, fantasy is fantasy, and yes, it's a big part of the NFL now, and it's a big reason why a lot of people watch NFL. They have to know that fantasy is a big part of it, but at the same time, it's a fun part of it. It's a fantasy part of it. These boys are playing for their
Well, it's fun
livelihoods. These boys are
sometimes.
playing for their careers. These boys are playing for titles, so they really shouldn't give a shit about fantasy, to be fair to them.
No, they shouldn't. But you know what the league should do? Because it's an easy fix. Just don't have a bye week 14, because that is just something.
Make it a little bit more playable. Yes, I agree. Make it a little bit more playable and
Think how much money it makes them. This will make them so much money.
Huge amounts.
Well, they've got a couple. They've got a couple of weeks where they've only got like 4 teams on a bye. You could chuck a couple in there. Well, there's a few weeks you've only got 4 on a bye. Make a couple more weeks you've got 6 teams on a bye, and save, because obviously week 11 as well. It was the one after the Thanksgiving or week before. That was a big bye week as well. Was it week 12?
Yeah, they had a few that had loads of
teams
teams off, and then they had one. They had a couple of weeks during the season where none had bye weeks.
Well, they never had bye weeks
8,
during
9,
Thanksgiving.
9, something like that. Had 0 bye weeks.
Yeah, they had no bye weeks.
I think the league could fix that.
Yeah, they could easily fix it, but they don't.
For me, the season just goes so quickly as well. I can't believe that this is us signing off for 2024 already. It feels like it's only just started, and it's like, she playing in the FPL, the Fantasy Premier League, the soccer one, the football one. It's like, geez, it's such a drag, man. It just goes on so so long. This feels like it's over in 5 minutes, done, and boom, you've started, boom, you've finished. So, but it's been a very enjoyable season. I've thoroughly enjoyed doing battle with everyone, and I very much look forward to next season, and hopefully catching you up, Martin, and getting that promotion to join you in Division 2, unless you go one better and go up again,
Or maybe we miss each other and I will do and you come up.
Well, I'm chasing you, that's for sure. I'm now chasing you. That's 100% certainty. I am now chasing you.
Very good.
Did Everett stay up? Did he manage to stay up, Everett?
No, Everett got relegated. It was Alan, your destroyer, stayed up, and Kirkwall Cowboys, Ross stayed up. But yeah, poor Everett got relegated, so he'll be trying to get back up next year. He did well.
He done really well in some other leagues we're in, so don't let him kid you on it. He doesn't know what he's looking at, or he doesn't know what he's talking about. That boy knows what he's doing, and I've seen it in the other leagues. Do you know what I mean? He won one more league, which was $15 ahead, and he's won that one. So I'm watching you, Everett. I know your game, pal.
I think he's on the west side anyway. I think
Philadelphia, is he at? I think he's in Philadelphia.
No, I mean for the league. Is he on the west?
The league. Oh yeah, he's on the other side. Yeah.
No, he's in Turbeville, South Carolina.
Oh, he's South Carolina. Is that fair enough?
I've just because Everett actually won the Charity Bowl this year.
Oh, so he did.
Oh yeah, he should have.
Yeah, so it's not bad. He won it by 9 points.
Thanks for running that as well. That was really good this year.
No, well, hopefully as many people in here joins again, because 160 was good last year. Of course, he's given me the honour of trying to pick the charity. Maybe you can help me. I'm trying to find a kids' charity that's more of a local one that deals with autism.
Yeah,
I've got 3 autistic kids.
Autism, no?
Well,
autism group.
Yeah. I want it mainly for kids, so I can with adults too, but having 3 kids that are autistic, it's a battle.
Sure.
And I just want to find a charity that's good.
Got a granddaughter who's heavily autistic, and it's not easy, Johnny.
That's it.
That's a very worthy charity to put it to.
Yeah.
Anyway, gentlemen,
I'll figure something out. Yes.
2024 is officially over.
So, Craig, we need your predictions for the 3 of us quickly before we sign off. What's going to happen to us all next season?
I'll go up, obviously. Johnny will stay put, and you'll be coming back down. How's that?
Oh, there we go. You heard it here first. Listen, everyone.
I'll try and keep that one as a show.
Enjoy your summer. I hope you're out there playing golf. I hope you're out there doing what you do. That we get a nice summer, nice weather. And I look forward to seeing you all again in August, and may the battle commence once more.
Cool. And thank you, everybody who's taken part.
It's been a great season. Thank you, everyone.
Well, and a late Happy New Year. I'll message everybody Happy New Year anyway, but yes. And we'll see you all. Well, I'll be bugging you all until you join the league and pay your dues.
You will be. Please, just anyone who's watching, please, for the love of all that is holy, I'm done with 25 announcements a day. Can you please join the league so they can stop posting them? Thank you.
In fact, have you joined your division, Craig?
I don't know. I've not done anything because I was. I don't
think you have actually. So yeah. So please, Craig, join your division. And we'll see you all probably about August time or end of July, depending when the draft's going to start. Take care, everyone. Bye.